People who have survived an attempted murder, what is your story? When I was a kid, probably around 2nd grade, our house got robbed and my mom and I came home while it was in progress. For whatever reason, she decided to go in and interrupt them. She grabbed her gun, didn't shoot, yelled at them to get the duck out of my house, and then we drove off in a hurry to the corner store to call the cops. This was before cell phones. Less than 2 weeks later, my mom and I are sitting in the living room on the couch, our backs to the front door. Someone drives by and fires about 6 or 8 shots into the front of our house. Thank God for a steel front door. The cops came and said they didn't think the 2 incidents were related. My parents moved to Mozambique during the mid-90s. I was around 8 at the time and started going to school there. A nice private one. Can't complain. My father was working for the Red Cross in Chimoio, so we had a comfortable life. One day, before arriving to school with a friend of mine, some sketchy guy stopped us, offered a whole bunch of money to just take some small box to a white van that was parked at the end of the street, not even 100 meters away. My lucky day, I guessed. It actually was, but for different reasons. When I was going to go grab the box, my friend grabbed me by the shirt, pushed me, and started running, screaming something I didn't understand in Shona, the local dialect. That moment was when it clicked. The moment I looked back, the guy had already vanished. So, wherever you are, thank you, Jude. I will never forget you. My mom attempted to murder me and my sister when we were younger. She was going through a psychotic episode and pretty suicidal, and I said the wrong thing that set her off. She chased us down to the basement with a knife. We ran into my room and my sister hid in the closet while I tried to fight my mom off at the door. She was trying to push it open while I was trying to push it. It was a back and forth struggle until she put her hand in the door. I think she was trying to engage my non-violence because she thought I wouldn't shut the door on her hand, but I slammed the door over and over again until her fingers broke. Meanwhile, my dad, who was in the house, finally came downstairs to check in what was happening. Mind you, this all happened very fast, and my dad has a habit of zoning out when my mom gets in her episodes. He ended up pulling her off of the door, and my sister and I ran out of the house and jumped in our van. He drove around the corner and turned off the lights, and we all ducked down in our seats to hide, and stayed there until my dad saw her drive our other car off. My older sister tried to stab me with a large knife in an attempt to kill me on my 16th birthday. My mother grabbed the knife off her before it got my stomach and slammed her against the fridge and yelled at me to run. Last time I saw my older sister, she said, "I've gotten over it and you should too. It's pathetic to hang on to it." She then told people it was self-defense because I tried to hurt her. I was literally eating my birthday breakfast. I didn't sleep properly for 2 years while she was in the house because she constantly tried to break into my room at night to slit my throat while I slept. I hate her. Mine's not that good of a story. I was walking down the street and somebody missed me in a drive-by. It was like that scene in The Apartment in Pulp Fiction. It wasn't me but my uncle. When I was a kid, around a decade ago, my uncle got shot while coming out of a bar with a few friends. His friend got hit once in his shoulder but was fine. My uncle, on the other, got hit 3 times, once in the colon, lung, and heart. By all rights, the shooter had gotten him and drove away. His friends rushed him to the hospital and, with a bullet lodged in his heart and blood entering his lung, he managed to survive. He was in a lot of pain for a long time, but since then he's gotten his life together and is getting married in about a year. Edit. I appreciate all the shot through the heart puns, LMAO. Keep them coming if you have more. Someone tried to mug me and stabbed me in the wrong place, so I survived. Didn't see his face, so he got away with it. So I had seizures when I was younger, so the fact that I remember this is amazing to me. My dad was driving my sisters and I to the new home he and my mother had just purchased like a few weeks before, when a woman who had wanted to commit suicide drove head-on in my dad's lane. I remember him switching to the opposite lane a few times, and each time the woman would switch as while still driving straight for our car. We didn't get hit and cops were called and explained that the woman was trying to kill herself. I don't know what happened to the woman, but I mean I lived. My family and I didn't have any injuries, but we were pretty shaken up. I posted this story already a long while back, but basically, I worked in a jail and a guy from a 1%er biker gang tried to pay $10,000 to have me killed because he somehow got the idea that I was the fed who busted him and was merrily pretending to be a jailer so I could spy on him. Don't do meth, kids. The guy was bragging about it, and one of the other inmates who I had saved from a heart attack with first aid didn't like that, so he beat the living shit out of the guy and then told me about it. Phone call recordings confirmed that he had promised the money to 2 guys if they shot me in the back of the head while escorting him to court and busted him out. Federal marshals rolled them up, and on his way to court I whispered to him, "Your friends won't be joining us," when we got to the planned ambush point. Instead of a bond hearing, he got charged for trying to have me murdered and organizing an escape. Neighbor stabbed me in the chest because I hit him over the head twice with a 10-pound weight to try to stop him stabbing his wife. However, I'm fat and the knife didn't go deep enough through my breast tissue to do any damages. Yay for being fat. He's still up for attempted murder though. I saw 2 people stab someone to death in what I assume was a drug deal gone wrong. When I was on a night walk, spent another hour being chased and hiding in a backyard so they wouldn't do the same to me. Scary night. My dad was choking me and I had started to feel myself fade when my mom had finally come home and opened the door right on time. Eater. Wow, did this blow up way more than I expected? No, it's not a Simpsons reference. My dad was very abusive and my mom tried to shield us kids from it. She didn't leave him for another 8 years though, but he never got that close to killing me again either. He killed himself a few years ago after a long 33 days with me trying to save him from his own demons. It was a long, manipulated and very calculated experience on his part. We're doing a lot better now and I appreciate the kind words. Too drunk to figure out how to disable the safety. Not my story, but grandmother's friend was getting picked up from work by her husband when he shot at her 5 times. He missed 4 times and the 5th bullet hit the underwire of her bra. He then turned the gun around and killed himself. He had just been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. She's alive and was completely uninjured. She now jokes about how bad of a shot he was to miss that many times. Crazy ass story. Random dude shot me in the chest because he thought I was my drug dealer neighbor. My neighbor was 6'3" and black. I'm 5'11" and white. Jokes on him. All he got were a few cigarettes, some pocket change, and 35 years on an attempted second-degree homicide conviction. Not me, but my mother. My mother was 7-8 months pregnant with her first child when one day her mother-in-law gave her a pudding mixed with poison. Soon after, it started taking effect and naturally affected the baby too. She was in labor and begged her in-laws and husband, my dad, to take her to the hospital, but they just refused to. She spent the whole night in pain and in the morning around 4 AM, they took her to the hospital. The doctors said they couldn't explain how she managed to survive as her blood was contaminated, and the fetus had died in her womb at night. My dad took the fetus away before anyone could see him. There was not a bullet in the gun. Ex-husband got mad and got in my face while holding our sleeping baby in his one arm. Big guy grabbed me by my neck, picked me up off the ground and slammed me into the wall and held me there. I couldn't fight back because I didn't want the baby to get hurt, so I just hung there. After a bit, I started blacking out. Next thing I know, he just randomly drops me and I regain consciousness. Army crawled under the bed and hid there for a bit. Finally got up, grabbed the baby and sat and watched TV like nothing happened. There had been a couple of incidents after with butcher knives, but that one was the worst.